Hi everyone, Mr. Hawkins with Hawkins Tech, and I've been using the iPhone 12 for 3 years. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how this iPhone is held up, how the performance is, the cameras. I'm also going to go over a little bit of should you buy this phone in 2025. Now, earlier this year, I made a video on the iPhone 12 and mentioning if you should buy it. That's not going to be this video, but I'll mention a little bit with the price and if this device is worth checking out. I'll briefly mention that, but most of this video is going to be a dedicated review to talk about how this iPhone has held up. Now, I've been using this iPhone for 3 years as of today, May 31st, 2025. I've been using this iPhone since May 31st, 2022, when I first initially got it. And it has been my main iPhone ever since. Now, this is a 64 gig iPhone 12 in product red. Now, looking at the overall design, I do have a screen protector on this particular device, and looking at this iPhone, and the notch may flicker on camera, not really sure why it does that, but that's just how the camera picks it up. But the iPhone 12 does have a wide notch. Let me just unlock it for Face ID here. It does have a wide notch. Now, there's other devices such as the iPhones with dynamic islands and smaller notches, but this phone has a wider notch. Now, as far as the design and how it's held up, well, this particular iPhone has the flat sides, whereas the iPhone 11, which I don't have to show, but the iPhone 11 does have rounded corners. So it has rounded corners, and Apple gave the iPhone 12 squared off corners or flat sides. Looking at the cameras of the iPhone 12, on the back we have an f1.5 aperture camera, which is a wide camera, and an f2.4 aperture ultra wide. Looking on the front where the true depth camera is for Face ID, we have an f2.2 aperture wide camera. I'm going to go ahead and do some tests, and I'll export it in the video. Here I am recording off of the f1.5 or f1.6 aperture wide camera. If I said it was an f1.5, it's an f1.6. And here is the camera. It's a wide angle lens and gets a more closer field of view. And now looking at the f2.4 aperture, the f2.4 aperture is an ultra wide lens and it gets a more further out field of view. You can see pretty much an entire area from the ultra wide lens. This is a test from the front-facing camera, which is an f2.2 aperture. It is a 12 megapixel. All of these cameras are 12 megapixels. It's great for FaceTime calls and Zoom calls. So both the f1.6 and f2.4 aperture are very good cameras with this particular device, as well as the f2.2 aperture, which is a front-facing camera, which is great for Zoom calls. Now, there are better iPhones with better cameras, but the iPhone 12, it has pretty decent cameras in 2025. Now, as far as longevity with this device, well, it is going to get the rumored iOS 26 update, which, if you're not already aware by now, you probably are. But a couple days ago, I found out that iOS 19 is rumored to be called iOS 26. I did an entire video mentioning that, And the iPhone 12 is still getting that update. And it will also get iOS 27, which would have been iOS 20. And that would probably be the last software for this device, iOS 26 and iOS 27. Now, currently, it does support the latest software, which is iOS 18.5. I got to get the camera to focus here. It does currently support iOS 18.5, which is the latest version. Now, as far as the storage with this particular iPhone, the storage on this particular device, you might not be able to see it because the camera doesn't want to focus that great. And I'm recording off of my iPad Air 4th generation. But the storage on this particular iPhone 12, it is a 64 gig model. Now, this storage in particular, I would avoid at all costs. If you're looking for an iPhone to use in 2025, I would not buy a 64 gig iPhone. I am planning on upgrading this year to the iPhone 14. After 3 years of having this phone, I am going to keep this particular device and install iOS 26 beta on here, but I am planning on getting the iPhone 14. But this device is still worth using in 2025. Just don't buy the 64 gig model. Now, it does come in two other storage options, 128 GB and 256 GB of storage. Those are the recommended storage options I would recommend over 64 gigabytes. Those are better storage options than the current storage on this particular device. Now, as far as how the speakers have held up, I have a video to test and I'll go ahead and play it. Hi everyone, Mr. Hawkins with Hawkins Tech, and I've been using iOS 18.5 for the past couple of weeks, and in this video, I'm going to give you my overall experience running iOS. So the speakers on the iPhone 12 has held up pretty great. As far as how the overall design has held up entirely, well, looking at this design, I do have a camera protector over my cameras, and I've been using this case for almost 2 years. October is going to make 2 years. It's a Toku case. But looking at the overall design, from what I can tell, the back looks pretty clean. I don't see any cracks or scratches on this device. Looking at the sides of the iPhone 12, the sides do look okay. Comment down below, how does it look to you? But the sides on this particular device does look pretty great. As far as how the front has held up, well, the front, I have a screen protector on it, and the front has held up pretty good. Honestly, this phone has held up pretty good as I've kept it in a case for most of its life. I've never really brought this phone in places without a case. I do take it out of the case for when I'm using it to record video, like when I'm reviewing it, or when I just want to look at how the overall exterior body looks. I do take a look at the phone outside the case, but generally, I typically keep the phone in the case to keep this device protected. So it's held up pretty well. Now, as far as the price of this iPhone 12, if you're looking to buy a device like this, generally, you can buy this device, such as an iPhone 12, for around $200 to $300. maybe $350 to be exact, if you want to buy this particular device. If you look on different places, you can buy it for $200 to $300 in good condition. But to consider one thing, I would recommend buying the 128 GB. If you don't really care that much about uploading videos or editing videos, or you're just a casual user and you don't really do much, then the 64 gig would be fine. I know I make and upload videos. I'm looking to get a new phone, and I am going to hopefully get a new phone. I'm getting the iPhone 14. That's one of the iPhones I'm going to go for. And the iPhone 14 is significantly cheap as well, around $300 to $320. And this is the iPhone 14 that I'm planning on upgrading to. But as far as the iPhone 12, if you should buy it, well, get the 128 GB and not the 64 gig model if you care a lot about making videos and doing a lot of social media on your iPhone and a lot of photo saving. Don't get the 64 gig model if you do those things. But if you don't really care about making videos and you're not really that much of a YouTuber, then you'll do just fine with the 64 gig model. But if you care about those things, I would recommend going for a different option. I would even recommend going for a different phone if you want to have your iPhone for a couple of more years. I'm going to get 2 more years extra out of the iPhone 14 than I am with this phone. But this video is not all about the iPhone 14. This is about my iPhone 12 3 years later. But I will have a review for that phone when I do get it, so stay tuned to that. But as far as anything else with this device, well, that's really all I could say for now. The iPhone 12 is an excellent phone if you're on a tight budget and you're just looking for a phone that you really want to get, and you want to get a quick way into the Apple ecosystem. The A14 Bionic chip can do a lot, and I forgot to mention that this phone does have the A14 Bionic chip with 4 gigabytes of RAM. That may be a deal breaker to some people. If you care about your apps refreshing in the background, some apps may refresh quicker in the background. Now, before I forget, I will mention this. This iPhone 12 has a 60 hertz display, but that's not really a deal breaker if you're looking at one of the iPhones that's not either the Pro or the Pro Max line. If you're looking for the regular base model iPhone, you're basically not going to care about having a 120 hertz refresh rate. So 60 hertz is just fine for most people. Now then, the iPhone 16 Pro Max does have 120 hertz, while the flagship base model has 60 hertz. So most people won't really care about 120 hertz. As if they're going for this phone, they're going for the base model iPhone. Even the 12 Pro Max has 60 hertz. They brought it to the 13 Pro Max with 120 hertz. So as far as anything else, well, that's my iPhone 12 3 years later. Honestly, this phone has done so many great things for me over the past 3 years, and I have enjoyed using this iPhone. And I'm not going to give away this device when I get my iPhone 14. I'm still going to keep this phone. I'm going to keep this phone for beta testing, and I'm going to run iOS 26 beta on there, which is the new name for iOS 19. If you've been following some of my videos, Apple is rumored to call iOS 19 iOS 26. And I have made videos on that, and I will install the beta on this device. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Mr. Hawkins with Hawkins Tech, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.